With YouTube attacking alternative media, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon for just $1 per month. Link below. You know, when you die, you don't really care what happens to your body, right? I mean, people out there will claim to care, but in that moment, you know, you're gone, right? Whether your soul ascends to heaven, descends to hell, finds itself in limbo or purgatory, or just simply gone, you're not going to be in control of it anymore. So what happens to your body afterward is really just, well, going to impact your next of kin. However, you still want to treat it with a little bit of respect. That's why I'm all for cremation, man. But this one's kind of creepy. Colorado shuts down funeral home operated by body parts broker. Okay. Colorado officials indefinitely shut down a funeral home and crematory this week of a woman who runs as a side business, selling donated body parts from the same building. That's creepy. And that's this woman right here. So in its order, issued Monday, the State Office of Funeral Home and Crematory Registration suspended operations at Sunset Mesa Funeral Directors after saying that cremated remains returned to one donor were analyzed by the family and found to be concrete, not human ashes. You can tell the difference between human ashes and concrete. I'm just saying, like, I mean, I can understand, like, you know, to like the layman out there not being able to see the difference between concrete and human ashes. But I mean, who's going to open it up and look inside, right? Who's going to, I mean, realistically, this woman, Megan Hess here. Okay. This is her right here with her, Beverly Goldberg circa 1985 hair. But, I can understand the scam. Who's going to look inside the urn to check out the ashes? Right? Do you really want to take that final look at your loved one, that being your last memory of them as a pile of ash? Probably not. So it's a good scam. But it says here that the action against Sunset Mesa and its owner Megan Hess comes after the FBI raid last week. The raid followed a report by Reuters in January about alleged practices at Sunset Mesa Funeral Home and Donor Services, the Hess-run body donation firm. During the FBI raid, officials searching for the funeral home also found bags of dry concrete / cement. Because it's cheap. Like a freaking 45 pound is like $4. You know, it's not that expensive. Former employees of the Montrose, Colorado establishment told the news agency before the FBI raid that they were troubled by what they witnessed at the funeral home. It says here, although Hess spoke with Reuters about her business in 2016, she has since declined to comment. By Tuesday morning, the funeral home's website had been taken offline and the phone number disconnected. Hess's lawyer, Carol Viner, could not be reached for comment. Previously, Viner had asked Reuters to refrain from contacting Hess's employees for any reason. Yeah, because you want to keep them from getting the full story. It's like when Amy's Baking Company was a big thing on Kitchen Nightmares. And they talked to the employees after the fact. After everything went up, they were freaked out. One girl got fired as a result for talking to the TV show. So yeah, you know, they want to keep it on the DL. But at the same time, if you're going to sit there and you're going to run a freaking operation like where you are replacing ashes with concrete, you're going to eventually get caught. But I do want to look, clearly hate the player. Also hate the game. But the game is interesting. As far as scams go, I'm actually impressed. I am. I have to admit that. I have to admit that I'm impressed. Now, in its order, the Colorado Department, a division of the state's Department of Regulatory Agencies, found that Hess neglected to maintain required cremation records for the past 5 years and final disposition records of the deceased for at least 7 years. Sunset Mesa also disposed of bodies before obtaining the necessary permits. That's not good. In last month's story by Reuters, former employees described how bodies donated to donor services were dismembered and sold. The so-called body broker business operated out of the same building. Oh man, that's fucking horrible. State officials contacted Tuesday said that the suspension and order extends only to the funeral home and crematory and that the office has no regulatory authority over donor services. Reuters was unable to determine whether Donor Services, the body donation company, remains open, but its number was also disconnected. No federal law governs the sales of cadavers or body parts and use for use in research or education, and few state laws, including those in Colorado, provide any oversight. So that's essentially like kind of what's going on here, is that you've got this woman running her thing. Let's take a look at the other story here. I'm just kind of curious about this one here. So the FBI scrutinizes funeral home running a side business selling human body parts. So if there's no federal oversight for this and there's no laws against it, then I guess what's the problem here, right? I mean, let's first quick second kind of like talk about the movie Black Panther for a second, right? Like Killmonger was the bad guy, okay? But ultimately at the end of the film, he broke no laws. He broke he had violated no rule at the time. And so he was I'm just saying, like, it's kind of one of those weird gray areas. I'm not too sure why I made a Black Panther reference here. They're not related, but it's just first thing that popped in my head. So former workers described troubling practices at this mortuary / body broker, including allegations of deceptive marketing and an account of how gold dental work was removed from corpses and sold. So okay. let's talk about this. So here's what I'm thinking. They were donated bodies. The bodies were then cut up, sold off for parts that they could. They were disposed of in ways that were illegal, didn't have permits for them. Gold fillings, gold teeth, other elements were removed and probably resold. And then also people who went in there to cremate the bodies ended up just getting them filled with concrete. I have to say that I'm impressed. So the Federal Bureau of Investigation is interviewing former employees of a funeral home whose owner runs a side business of the same premise, selling human body parts. An agent with the FBI interviewed at least 4 former employees who worked for funeral director and body broker Megan Hess, seeking information about how she operates her businesses. The federal inquiry began several months ago, shortly after Reuters interviewed a half-dozen workers who formerly worked for Hess. One employee, Carrie Escher, said she was especially troubled by the practices of Hess's mother, Shirley Koch, who works at the facility. Escher said Koch, who embalmed and dismembered bodies, pulled teeth from some of the corpses to extract the gold crowns or fillings. Now, it does boil down to the idea here. Again, once you die, you're not in control of the body. And if the body's been donated, then you don't have any say over it. I mean, there's like ethics and morals, mostly the morals of the situation. But if we break it down just on a legal standpoint, they really weren't doing anything that bad. I mean, I'm sure they were. I'm sure they were doing things that were bad, but legally, it's kind of like there's a gray area, it feels like. So she showed me her collection of gold teeth one day, said Escher, who helped manage the former creation marketing business owned by Hess. She had sold a different batch a year prior, and they took the whole family to Disneyland in California on the gold that they cashed in. That's crazy. That is crazy. Reached by phone at Sunset Mesa, Cox said she did not wish to talk to a Reuters reporter, saying, "I'm not interested, thank you." Now, the news agency also sent written questions to Hess and her attorney about Cox's alleged handling of gold teeth. Neither addressed the issue. Now, no federal law prohibits the buying and selling of human body parts to be used in research and education. So there we go. It's not illegal. It's just really messed up. In Colorado and in most other states, it's also legal for funeral homes to sell items recovered from dead bodies, such as gold dental work. And it's not against the law to operate a so-called body broker firm from the same facility that houses a funeral home and crematory. Okay, so so if you think about it, it's probably what they got her on. It was the record keeping and the permits, which is, it's a technicality, but it's how they got Al Capone on tax evasion. But at the same time, this woman was able to find, and probably through her mother, a legal loophole that would allow them to dismember bodies and to sell them off and to keep the gold fillings, to take trips to Disneyland, which is just crazy. But it's a legal way of going about it. At least the act, not the record keeping or the permits, or probably, I don't know, if they're putting in concrete into urns, then they've clearly deceived people. And that's where the greed comes in, and they've violated it there. Now, in Colorado and most other states, it's also legal for funeral homes, but the business arrangement is highly unusual. Reuters could find no other operation active in the United States that houses a funeral home, crematory, and body broker in the same facility under the same ownership. Well, it's good to be the first, right? Such multi-purpose operations raise ethical concerns. Several funeral industry veterans said a funeral director who also works as a body broker could have a financial incentive to sell the body for its valuable parts rather than provide an inexpensive burial, for instance, which is, again, entirely true. The conflicts of interest of having a side business and body parts just leads to problems. This is coming from Steve Palmer, funeral director in Cottonwood, Arizona, saying there are no ethics there when you do that. You're not looking at the full disposition of a body. You're looking at how to make money, which is true. But everyone dies at the same time. I'm just kind of pulling the, the devil's advocate coin here. And if it's been, kind of allowed, I guess, it's hard to, I mean, no. It's definitely bad, but it's also like the ethics there get murky because again, it's just one of those things. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think this is kind of where we're at right now. So this woman here, this woman here ran a crematory, ran a funeral home, ran a body broking firm, all under the same roof. Employees came and went, obviously, had a weird old time, and looked at this and went like, holy crap, this is crazy. And then complained, talked to the FBI, and now she's shut down. But the question is, though, will she be able to kind of reopen again? Right? Would she be able to do it? And just get the necessary permits? If they close it down indefinitely, that means that they obviously violated a number of rules involving paperwork, right? Again, the technicality. But that's not going to stop her from opening up another business and doing it all over again because of those illegal loopholes. Maybe not in Colorado, but maybe in another state. If there's money in death, which there always is, and they know the ins and outs of the industry and they know how to do it, to them, ethics be damned. If they're able to become a body, they can get bodies donated. If they can sell all this stuff off, then it's money, man. And it's not illegal. That's the crazy thing. This woman spends a year collecting gold teeth from corpses, gold fillings from corpses, pulls out the gold, keeps it in a drawer, and then takes everyone to Disneyland with the money. That is some crazy stuff. But it's not illegal. And it feels like it should be. I mean, look, to be fair, I'm glad they're shut down. But at the same time, I'm also just woefully impressed with what they were able to pull off. When a crime is good, because there's not really a crime there outside of paperwork and maybe deceiving people who have had their family members come in to be cremated. That I really do believe is messed up. And I'm glad that they're not doing that. But just for the elements of what we know about, it's so interesting and it's fascinating. And part of me really, really, really wants to know more. And I also really, really, really wonder how many other people out there are doing the exact same thing.